Let me quickly invite our guest speaker at the end of this class. We only have like a few minutes left, but that's fine. The guest speaker today is Mr. Yadav. So his first name is Vinay, right? And he's a PhD research scholar who's almost done submitting his PhD thesis in India at the NIT, National Institute of Technology. It's like he will talk about his experience in working and his observations in the supply chain area. And specifically, he will talk about the agriculture supply chain. Because me and Vinay collaborate about a blockchain technology related paper in 2019 year in the agriculture space, Indian agriculture sector space. So he has kind of made a discussion, a brief discussion about encapsulating these components about India and its agricultural outreach and its agricultural outline and the parts involved in supply chain and his research in this and what is his motivation and a little bit about himself. So let's invite him for a discussion today. He will share the screen and he will discuss. And as always, if you have any questions, because we have limited time, please follow him in his social or in his email, and you can send him a message. If you can hear me, you can share the screen and you can begin your talk.
Am I audible, Professor?
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for the kind words.
Okay. Yeah, I can see your screen. Guys, you can see his screen, right? Even kan ma?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead, Vinay.
Okay. So, very good morning to all, and thank you, Professor Hurry-ish, for inviting me here, and thank you once again for making my job easier, as you have already discussed most of the basics topic in supply chain. So I can directly start with my presentation, and I will here give some insight about current research trends in Indian agro-food supply chain. So we'll be limited to agro-food supply chain. So this will be the outlines of my presentation. I will discuss about supply chain ecosystem, recent trend, upcoming opportunities, what I have been doing in this area, and then future research direction. And if time permits, we will take some questions. And as Professor mentioned, you can always contact me either through email or on LinkedIn. So currently I am pursuing my PhD from NIT Raipur, and I am about to submit my PhD thesis by end of this month. And my research interest includes supply chain, distribution network design, blockchain, and other industry 4.0 technologies, and optimization techniques, and multi-criteria decision making. So basically, if we talk about supply chain, it is flow of three things: material or product, information or money. So what happens? The material and information flow up and down of this supply chain, while the money flow upward. And it includes organization, procedures, and peoples who are involved directly or indirectly to fulfill the customer demands. So whenever someone asks what is supply chain, you can just simplify it in three terms: flow of three things: material, information, and money. And then we'll see how Indian agro-food supply chain ecosystem works. So it has basically four elements, where the first element is service chain. It is related to logistics. We are going to see all this element in subsequent slides. And resources. For anything to produce, we require resources, and then institutions are there to streamline these processes. And then we have service delivery technology and mechanism like cold chain, warehouse, packaging, food parks, and freight corridors for transportation. So we'll see one by one. Basically, the first one, service chain. This is also known as farm to fork supply chain or plow to plate supply chain. Basically, what happens, the farmer produce, and they sell their produce in the government in Indian context. They sell their produce in the government regulated market that is known as mandi in local language. And
Vinay?
from
Hi,
yeah.
excuse me. I think you need to slide is just frozen at the first one. Are you still in the first slide?
No, I am in sixth slide.
Okay, we are still frozen. Guys, can you see his sixth slide? Are you? Yeah, okay. Yeah, you could. Now I can see the sixth one. Yeah. Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay. So basically, okay. So the different stakeholders involved in agro-food supply chain includes farmer, seed producer, fertilizer factories, financial institutions like banks, millers, processor, then government agencies have their roles. We have warehouse, and then in India we have public distribution, which runs in forms of fair price shops. We have retail shops, railways, trucks, and transport companies as various stakeholders. Professor, can you see the seventh slide?
No.
Or you are
You
still
need to move it again.
okay? In case of
yeah, now I can see. Yeah.
Okay, when I'm doing slides, so I think you are not able to. So okay, I'll present in this manner only.
Okay.
So
sure.
we'll discuss few characteristics of Indian agro-food supply chain. As we know, India and China are very populous country. So 58% of the Indian people are engaged into agriculture. So we have a large number of farmers and agriculture workers, and in between this supply chain we have too many intermediate, and most of the things are manually carried out, and we have various standards for hygienes, and government also provides subsidy to few things, and since the things are being done manually, there are lots of food losses. So this is one of the significant challenge which Indian agro-food supply chain faces. And then there is a need to streamline or smoothen the public distribution system, at lots of food losses is observed in the current public distribution system. And in India, a very small percentage of food produces or meat are processed, and food manufacturing is not much developed. We have several reasons for this, like there is a expensive food packaging, as the more technologies are not available, high import on duties on processing and packaging machineries, and high sales tax on packaged food. So it is irony in a country like India that processed food is more expensive than the freshly cooked food.
1 minute,
and
let me add one small point. Guys, when he said meat products are not popular in India, there's also like cultural context to this. There's also cultural dimension. India contains, or India consists of the most number of vegetarian people in the world, right? Like my family.
That is around 30%.
Yeah, 30%, right? My family, right? Other than me, probably nobody eats meat, right? My father eats meat once in like a year or something, like very, 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 very rarely, right? And my grandparents are so conservative that if some family will eat meat, they won't drink water in their home. So it's like the cultural context to this. Okay.
Yes, Professor.
So
yes.
Yeah. So for me, so you may think like I'm a foreigner here, but I'm a foreigner pretty much everywhere I go. Okay. So I'm a part of none. So anyway, so again, when we look at these interesting discussions from other people, we also probably need to have a look at the cultural aspect, supply chain aspect, and then the localization aspect, right? And the second thing, right, that he mentioned, that's very interesting. I'm sorry, again, I'm stopping you. Just want to give them the background, right? These are very young student, bachelor degree, right? Yeah. The second interesting thing here, right? He said, oh, you know, the frozen products, right? Frozen products have some limitation in India because the power situation is not evenly distributed. Major cities produce and consume a lot more power than smaller cities, actually. So it's not evenly distributed. And if you see the news in the recent years, there was also the coal supply chain related disruption, like coal-based disruption. In 2019,
Yes.
I wrote a paper about this with one of my colleagues saying that, oh, coal supply chain are going to be extremely disrupted post-pandemic, right? And back then, this didn't get a lot of interest because one of my interest in research is clean coal, right? And it's not a very popular topic compared to the green energy-based innovations, right? So back then it didn't get, but we predicted how the Chinese and the Indian coal supply chains are going to react post-pandemic in that paper, in that work with our Chinese colleagues. So anyway, so the interesting part here is power has some different dynamics in India compared to that of China. And yeah, so these are two things that we need to kind of understand as a background. Vinay, please go ahead. Sorry.
Thank you. So as we see, India is very rich in resources. Like we have 52% of our land is cultivable, while the world average is only 11%. We have all 5 major climatic regions, and we have all 15 agroclimatic regions. In by soil wise, also we are very rich. In India, 46 types of soils are found. So we can see that India is a producer of many largest producer of many produces, and sunshine hours and day length are ideally suited for all year around. Like if you see the example of Canada and other some European countries, they are not able to harvest like for almost for 3 or 4 months there is snow. But in India, the context is different. We can produce throughout the year, and we are very rich in biodiversity and livestock sector also. And though we all this richness is there by resource wise, still it contribute only 17% to the GDP. So there is a need to discuss why these challenges or this problem is there, where we are lacking. So this is a major thing. And we are second highest producer of fruit and vegetables, but storage availability is very low, which is around 10%. And we are second largest producer of milk. Additional cold storages are required. Again, in case of eggs and fish, the cold chains are required, which Professor Harris rightly pointed out.
Oh, just to stop you here, Vinay, this will probably be interesting to you. This is a pack of milk, right? I don't know if you can see it, right? So this is, I think, 200 milliliter of milk, and this cost me 4.5, almost 5 yuan, like 5 yuan is 60 rupees almost.
60 rupees, yes.
But
yes,
in
yes.
India, guys, 1 liter of milk is how much? 32 rupees, right? 32,
yes.
34. So that is 3.2 yuan.
At present, sir, it is around 40 rupees.
Okay, 40. So 1 liter of milk in India is 40 rupees, which is 3.8 yuan. Sandian Pakwaiba in yuan, right? So my point here is when he said second largest producer of milk, right? So India has overproduction of milk, actually, in a certain sense, right? So I still remember when I was a student, like the same age as you now, right? And as a bachelor degree student, if I was hungry in lunch, what I will do is I'll go to the store, I'll get like 1 liter of milk and just drink this pack of milk, right? And that will be my lunch or something. Yeah, so I still remember that. And once I move out of India, I could never do it till now. You know what I mean? I like milk. I think I like the taste of it, but milk is more of a delicacy outside India. And guys, this is the interesting thing that we need to understand. It's a milk-based environment. Pretty much our cheese is a derivative of milk. Most of our food is a derivative of milk, and so on and so forth. So yeah, so milk is one of the major sources of our nutrition in India. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and one reason could be the White Revolution, which was initialized in the country. So that boosted the milk production also. So regulation-wise and social factors. In India, we have an act which is known as Agriculture Produce Marketing Committee Act. And what act does this do? It allows the farmers to sell their produce only in the government regulated markets, and those are called as mandi, as I previously discussed. And the farmers cannot directly sell their produce to the manufacturer. So the whole system is as efficient as the mandi is, and we also know a supply chain is as strong as its weakest link. So if the mandi is malfunctioning, there are lots of problems. So as a result, the supply chain is disintegrated. And recently, the government has started some very good initiative, like they have created National Agriculture Market, which is a pan-India electronic trading portal, which has integrated all the APMC mandis are there, markets are there, to the online channel, and there they provide a unified national market for all agriculture commodities. Through this, all mostly many stakeholders like farmers and others, even the consumers have benefited, since they are moving toward digitization, and the current government focus is also on digitization, as various schemes have been launched like Digital India. So this ENAM portal does, this provides a single window service for all the APMC related information and services. So this is a very good recent advancement in Indian context. And what another things which Indian government has done for its farmer is like the government has guaranteed minimum support price. Here the farmers get minimum support price for 24 types of crops, and they get lots of subsidies also. And so this is regulation point of view. And in context of delivery service infrastructure, the cold chain, as we know, cold chain is required for storage of perishable items to preserve its quality and ensure longer life. It include pre-cooling facilities, and then we require multimodal transportation. And we like since professors, students are information business students, and this subject is also related to information. We require lots of information management, as professor already discussed. And in this context, lots of technology is also coming, like blockchain, IoT. And the current status of distribution logistics in India is like the focus is more on building the hard infrastructure, and yet we need to develop more on the soft infrastructure like ERP, sensor network, etc. And the objective is to reduce as much as food losses. And India ranked 44th on logistic performance index. And what recent trends I am observing in Indian AFCC is like we are doing lots of automation to the farm process to increase the productivity. And then in recently blockchain has been popularized, like even few of the Indian state governments are using for various activities. Like in recently the government of Telangana, which is building a new capital for them, has used blockchain to procure the land. And for record maintenance, they are using this blockchain. And this blockchain and IoT in conjunction with can be used for traceability, record maintenance, and governance. And recently, the mobile app-based selling and trading has been also started via various apps through which the selling and trading can be done. And then recently, there is a fashion of like just to eliminate the intermediaries. The focus is on direct sourcing and to eliminate the intermediaries. And we are developing like agriculture e-marketplace, which I discussed, like ENAM. And with all these efforts also, in India, if you see, there are basically few crops which are grown in wide perspectives. So what government is trying to diversify it towards the cash crop so that the income of the farmers can be increased. And then there are policies and work is being going on to reduce the post-harvest losses. And there are also focus on development of various transportation modes. Also the focus is on resilience and risk management, as recently we observed COVID-19. Due to COVID-19, there were lots of disruption. So the focus is on resilience aspect, which is a very important terms in for the future researchers. And what I see upcoming supply chain opportunity in Indian market is that first one is direct sourcing, like and second one is digitization is going on, and this need to be further intensified. And third is on building hard infrastructure and to explore the global market, as a professor rightly pointed out that we have over production of milk, so we can explore the other global markets. And fourth thing is that GIS based crop monitoring is another opportunities where artificial intelligence and various machine learning based analytics can be used for decision supports. And then there is also focus on traceabilities and to link all the retailer and consumers. And another is that as the farmers are diversifying to different areas, so tap this work potential into different areas. So these are the opportunities. And then my research scope in this context is like that I have identified few of the issues of the farmers, and the corresponding solutions have been provided by me through making a blockchain-based information system. Since we have less time here to discuss, I have given my Google Scholar profile where various research, all my researches are there. And we also, as Professor said, we collaborated with Professor Hurry-ish, and we found what are the barriers to implement or adopt blockchain in Indian context. And this was published in a very good journal, and we are getting very positive response of this paper. Like this has been in 1 year, there have been around 70 citations to this work.
Oh, wow.
So yeah. And also thanks to Professor Hurry-ish, his inputs were very valuable. And then we also find out what drivers are blockchain which can be used to achieve sustainable food security, how it can be used in the public distribution system of Indian government. And then as the distribution option, like in earlier I discussed that the farmers can sell only their produce into mandi. So what we propose, this is just a proposal that we propose of multi-channel distribution, which where we showed that if the governments allow to have a multi-channel options to the farmers, their income can be increased. And recently also a year back, government also came up with a law, but however in some part of India a few agitations were there, so this law was taken back. So this thing was based on that only. And
okay, so let me just simplify here, okay? Guys, I know this is a crash course on entire industry and the entire region for you, but the point here is the key takeaway is very simple. The underlying dynamics of the agriculture market in India is very different, right? And we look at the key words that our speaker talk about, like a cold food supply chain, integration, you know what I mean? This simple keyword, and you take this and you can, it gives you a thinking direction, right? So let's say you work for a company as a young management graduate, right? And this company says, oh, I want to build a business in other Asian region. Let's say I'm an agriculture company in China, I'm very good, I want to expand it globally, right? You can start by saying, oh, I hear this talk about a researcher when I was a bachelor degree student, and he was talking about something to deal with cold food supply chain, right? So probably this is the kind of thinking that you need to take away. So don't get too complex with the details, right? Yeah, just simplify and take simple points. And of course, you can follow Vinay and continuously see what he's doing, and then try to find and build value for the company or the business you will build in the future. Okay. Yeah. Vinay, go ahead.
Okay, so what I see is some future direction to these studies, like that, as I already mentioned, that lots of automation is there, and implementation of Industry 4.0 technologies are going on. So in Indian context, as the farmers, we have farmers are very what we can say, they have small land holdings. So just we cannot just implement any technologies, like they cannot also afford also. So the investment analysis need to be done as a business perspective also, whether that is economically viable or not. So these the kind of investment analysis need to be done. And then when we are trying to implement some technologies, which stakeholder should share revenue, and how much they should invest. These all details should be carried out, and then what kind of data to be shared with which stakeholders, and how can the coordination mechanism can be done. These things should be focused for future researchers. And then how can we enable agro food supply chain 4.0 in wake of industrial 4.0 revolution, and how can the growing need of sustainability, as currently there is lots of awareness even in the from the consumer's perspective also. So how can this growing need of sustainability can be addressed? And if I summarize my whole talk, I can say that the Indian agro-food supply chain is very complex, and it's involved large number of intermediaries. So it seems to be disintegrated. And then in recent, the traceability has been found as a mechanism which can solve a few problems of this agro-food supply chain. So where blockchain and IoT can become front runner technologies. And COVID-19 has forced agro-food supply chain stakeholder to make use of more of technologies within which the government is also supporting. And then since Indian food processing and related industries are not much developed, and the configuration of supply chain is not flexible, so the flexibility can be addressed. And most of the agro food researches are focused on fresh vegetables, fruits and dairy products, and on food wastage. And the focus is more on the economic and environmental objective. Social perspective is still missing, or it is being carried out alone. So these things should be integrated, and we should give a kind of triple bottom line approach in economic, environmental and social dimension. So that is for the day. If you have any question, I'll be happy to answer. And here are my details. You can also contact me if needed.
Okay, thank you so much. Maybe you can stop sharing your screen and we can ask our students if they have any questions. Hello, everyone. So firstly, thank you, Vinay. And it's a nice thing to learn some new context and new areas. So guys, so Vinay, I want to say, after I work on that blockchain paper, right? My father and we start, actually my father is now a recreational farmer in the southern part of India after his retirement. Okay. Yeah. We establish a lot of infrastructure in the agriculture space. We build like a 5 kilowatt energy, what do you call that? Solar plant. And we have a teak tree plantation, we have sugarcane, we have rice. Again, we make a lot of losses across these.
Did he also make polyhouse?
Not yet, right? It's the second time, which is like the second year of our experimentation. So we own a lot of land now, and this is all again very first generation farmer, right? We have not done farming before, right? So after retirement from the government, my father went there. And then we have started experimenting with a lot of things. From a cash standpoint, it's a big failure. We are losing money on all of our investments systematically every year. But that's the interesting thing, right? Because both of my father's sons are settled out and they don't need the money, right? So we are ready to take these losses and experiment and build on top. So any of our student is interested to know more about the agriculture supply chain, not from the theory point. If they're like 10 years from now, if you're interested, right, I can bring you and show you actually we have running projects, running farmhouses, running infrastructure across the spectrum in India. And it's a new development. So it's always very happy for me to learn about the agricultural problems in the recent times, like open up a new portfolio for my thinking process in a certain sense, right? So my father keeps telling me, I posted my first social media video in 2008, right? That time, I know 10, 15 years later, I would need a platform where my students or my network will come and hang out and share content, right? Similarly, when we start farming now, my father says that 10, 15 years from now, there is a place that's needed to come experiment on things. So we start today.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. So it's a pleasure to hear you out. Guys, do you have any questions? Anything at all? Any key term, any perspective? Who's my favorite? Mr. He, Neowantima.
Actually not. I love this presentation, and it's clear into a new industry that I never know. Yeah.
Okay. No, actually, because after we start the agriculture initiative for my parents, right? The farmhouses, right? I did not go to India after that because of the COVID situation. If not, I want to create an entire playlist and document my observation for my students in China, for my students outside China, worldwide, UK, USA. I want them to see, right, from an educated person's perspective, what does agriculture look like? What does the problem look like? I'm not saying I want to solve any problem. I just want to make an observation and ask people, like, what do you think, right? Like this is what I see. Am I seeing it incorrectly, right? Like this, I want to do this, but it's just, I've not been there physically, and my father's old enough, so I don't know how to engage him with the social, you know what I mean? Dongfang, are you still here? Yeah. I have a question. In the social context, right? In China, right? I see the farmers, especially, I give you an example. I see there are some people I follow in WeChat, right? And these people are people who take the honey from the forest and they will sell this product, right? And they will make the vlog, what is that? Live stream.
Yeah, it is a new market that is expanding. A lot of MCN right now are looking for people in suburban areas to make content. So like old people who's in suburban, farmers and stuff like that. Yeah.
So Vinay, this is a very interesting observation. We just want to share this knowledge to you, right? I invite our student because she's good at the social side of thinking, right? So in China, right, there's many platforms where the rural old people and rural farmers, right, they will just broadcast. It's called live stream, if I'm not wrong. Dongfang, please correct me, right? So
yeah, live stream.
Yeah, they will live stream their daily life, like producing egg or taking honey from the forest and stuff like this. And then they will just live stream it, right? And on that live stream, there is a place where you can just go buy products from them directly, right? And I follow this because I like honey a lot. And there's like this farmer that I follow on the live stream, and I will buy honey every time he extracts honey. I'll get a bottle of it, and I just have to make the payment, and it'll reach my home. It is all integrated like this. So what happens here is, it's not just like in India, this is one of my major thinking process, right? Like my father is a recreational farmer. He does not do it for the money. In fact, he's losing money to produce like sugarcane or rice, but the quality of what he produces is really high quality because he does it from a social standpoint, right? But my father is faceless, voiceless in a certain sense, right? I don't mean to say he needs credit for what he does, right? He doesn't care, right? But the point here is, if we could give these people a voice, right? Like the Chinese are doing, which is very amazing, right? They're just, you know them as a story. It's not honey that I'm buying. It is a part of his story I'm taking out, right? Or like, you know what I mean? I feel connected to this whole perspective. And it's very interesting from my observation of my time here. Dongfang, did I miss any point here?
No, I think you got everything.
Yeah.
Professor, even in Indian context, people are also doing the same things. As recently, we bought the honey through the same process which you are telling, and they did it. We did it through Twitter, and then the quality was superb. We really enjoyed. So people are doing, but at a smaller scale, and they should be given recognition for that, so that wider masses can be benefited.
Yeah, it's like it becomes a part of the story, right? Then the consumer starts getting invested in the process of catching a fish and the process of getting honey. And then we always have this thinking, right? We go to a supermarket, we pick up a bottle of honey, and we start comparing the price point, right? Instead of this, when it's a story, probably we will look into the complexity, and probably we could evolve. Like, I'm always grateful when I eat in the food here, right? Because I know the story, I can see it, I can feel it, I can observe it, right? It's more,
we feel more connected,
right? Because food probably is not that much of a nutritional process from where we sit, because we are not it's more of a experiential process, if I'm
yes.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, we shot some time, but I think this is an interesting discussion, and others